everyone, Liam the Deaf Doom Metalhead, and I'm doing a brand new video series called The New Wave of British Death Metal. Now this video, as you might have guessed, is all about British death metal bands and the kind of rise of all these really cool new bands that are just kind of cropping up on the scene and absolutely killing it. And I wanted to kind of do this series to kind of toot the horn of British death metal, because you've got so many bands coming out of America that are all really nasty sounding, and I love it all. But here in the UK we actually got quite a few now kind of doing the same sort of thing and varied styles of it as well, and it's just killer. So I thought, why not do a video series on those bands, because I love supporting the underground, as you probably know, and I'm well into my underground death metal, especially if it's close to home and I don't have to pay a fuck ton in postage. So this video series I hope I'm going to do every other month maybe, with just 6 albums from 6 different bands that are all based in the UK. So the first one is kind of close to home to me. These guys, I believe, are based either in Cambridgeshire, in Peterborough, and possibly in Norwich. I'm not 100% sure. And it's a 2021 release put out through Church Road Records and Redefining Darkness over in the States, and that is Celestial Sanctuary, with their 2021 release Soul Diminished. Now this band was formed in 2019 by a chap called Thomas Cronin, and since then he's got in some musicians from bands like the Infernal Sea, guitar player that used to be in Obscene Entity that I think I played a gig with many years ago. I do have their CD over there, and I think he's also, the bass player is also in another project with Thomas doing that kind of death thrash kind of thing. And yeah, this is absolutely killer, and the only reason I picked this up is purely because of the coined phrase new wave of British death metal, and I saw that phrase and it was talking about this band, and I thought that's really catchy. I really like that, because I like the new wave of British heavy metal, and I thought that's quite funny. Check this out, it's absolutely superb, and I'm really glad I jumped on it, because never heard of these guys before. Like I said, formed in 2019, so a completely new band, and for a debut to get put out through Redefining Darkness as well is really, really cool. And yeah, absolutely superb. If you like your old school kind of death metal but with more of a modern reduction and a bit of groove in there as well, it's got all of that. Really good production. The drums sound mint on this, absolutely killer. All the riffs are solid, you know, I can't fault this. So if you have not checked these guys out before, please do. I'll leave links to every single band I talk about on this kind of series, as I always do with any video, with band camps, so you can support them and go and check them out. Alright, the next one is a one-man project based in, I think, in the south of England, can't really remember. Chap is called Ryan Willis, and this is his 2021, I think it's an EP, called The Gates of Hell, and his band is 7 Doors. This is absolutely killer death metal. Again, put out through Redefining Darkness on the tape, but you can also get the CD version through Cavernous Records. There you go, get it right. Yeah, so Cavernous Records here in the UK. So, what do you get with 7 Doors? This is some death metal that kind of goes into different subgenres of death metal. So you've got your old school death metal, then he mixes it up with some kind of black and thrash, then you've got your black and death metal. You know, it has little bits of everything that kind of makes this album as a whole really, really cool. And again, I blind bought this, never listened to a note of it, just wanted to support the underground, saw the tape, and I thought that's not a lot of money, I'm probably going to enjoy it, and I was dead right. It is absolutely stellar. Ryan is a fantastic guitar player, also plays in black metal bands like Deadwood Lake and Wolves in Exile. I think I've seen Deadwood Lake before, somewhere in Norwich maybe, might be wrong, but again, absolutely killer guitar player, and he's kind of moved over into the death metal market here with his own music, doing everything himself, and this has got tons of great riffs on it. So if you like a bit of groovy death metal, but then you want to go into old school and blackened, you want everything in one kind of EP album, this will do the job. So go check that out and go support Ryan's work. Absolutely killer, really enjoying that. Right, this one is a 2020 release, not 2021, 2020 release, from a band that formed in 2020, and again they're doing the rounds on the underground scene and becoming quite, you know, talked about, and that is the band Vacuous, and this is, I think, an EP called Katabasis, put out through FHED Records, which is based out in Cardiff, and these guys are based in London. Now that logo will give nothing away. I love that. I mean, if you stare at it long enough, I think you can kind of read the band name. I guess you can, but it's just insane. But this is again a new project, new death metal band on the scene, absolutely killing it. Riff after riff on this. It's very murky, very cavernous, just filthy death metal. I really, really enjoyed this. You've got 5 tracks, and I think at the time of recording this they were a 3-piece. but they've since got the live drummer from Hellripper now in the band, and I think another guitar player who's also an illustrator for some underground kind of death metal zine, I believe. But yeah, completely new to this band, only kind of found out about them the last month or so, and yeah, absolutely killer. Really, really cool. Reminded me a little bit of Morbid Angel in some parts of the Domination era, but then also a bit of Blood Incantation, Tomb Mold, you know, those kind of projects. And like I say, UK death metal bands, even though, you know, got so many American ones, and most people will talk about old school death metal and mention American bands, here in the UK now, we go say 20 years on in the future, I wouldn't be surprised if people start talking about these kind of bands, because they're absolutely superb. Really, really enjoying them. And this one especially, really, really cool, my kind of death metal. So go and check out some Vacuous. Right, next is a one-man project again, based very close to me in the same city, even Norwich. This is the band Garden of Eyes, and this is the 2021 EP called Boomhammer. And this was put out through Ancient Entity Records, which I think are based up in Scotland. Now, this is the chap here, Natskog. I know him fairly well. I don't know him personally very well, but he's been on the scene. He's younger than me, but I've seen him about at gigs in Norwich, and he's very prolific in his underground YouTube channel for bands you've never heard of, especially in the extreme metal stuff. But he also does a lot of fanzines, does a lot of different side projects. You know, he's very submerged in the underground metal scene, which is absolutely killer. And he's done this all by himself. HM2 inspired death metal, you know, what's not to like. And he kind of told me about this. I checked it out, and I was being brutally honest, I was quite surprised at how good it was. I didn't think it was going to be this good. Thought it was going to be a bit shit, if I'm honest, because you get some people with one-man projects that are really, really good, and then some of them are just so programmed it's just cringe to hear. Like the riffs may be good, but the drumming kind of ruins it. That doesn't happen at all on this. This flows really, really nicely, and I really like the track Boomhammer. And he's done a re-recording of Saw Cleaver from one of his previous releases, and yeah, absolutely killer. So go and support Natskog. I'll leave links again below to his kind of Bandcamp. You can check out his other, you know, music endeavours he's done. I know he's in a Death Doom project he's done, and a black metal one as well. So yeah, Garden of Eyes, really killer stuff. Excuse me. Right, next one is a 2021 release from a fairly older death metal band. They formed in 2009, I believe, and that is Grave Miasma. This is their 2021 release called Abyss of Wrathful Deities, put out through Sepulchral Voice, I think it is, but also Dark Descent did the tape, I believe. That's the tape there, you can see it. But yeah, these guys are very, very well respected in the scene. They're a London-based band again. I'll make sure I get that the right way around. Kind of wish I got the LP of this now. I might do later. But this is cavernous, murky, atmospheric death metal. Very progressive almost in the way it kind of changes up in tempo speeds, that kind of thing. You know, you can't predict any of the riffs on this at all. It all kind of comes at you as one sonic assault, and you know, you end up just kind of reeling away, kind of taking it all in, and it's fantastic. Lots of atmospheric kind of moments kind of put in between tracks to kind of break up the album a bit, but it's just absolutely killer death metal. I believe he's a 3-piece project, and I think one of the guys was also in Corpus Christi at one point, which is a Portuguese black metal band. But yeah, absolutely superb band. Really enjoyed this release. Again, a new one on me. I've heard the name for years, but I've never checked out any of their music. And this year I kind of jumped on this when I saw them announce it. And yeah, I really want the LP now, so no doubt I will pick that up at some point. So check out Grave Miasma, killer band. And lastly in this video, I want to keep it short and sweet because they're going to be a series of videos, is a London-based band that Consecration, my band, have played with many, many years ago, but I missed a gig. That was when I just joined the band and I watched from afar. And that is the band Decrepid. This is a London-based band. Started out in about 2005 with the only original member being Danny Price, who's still in the band. This is their 2020 release called Endless Sea of Graves through Memento Mori. Oh no, it's not, sorry, Xtreem Music, sorry. I should read that before I said that. So yeah, Spanish label I believe, Xtreem Music. And yeah, absolutely superb death metal. These guys are killer. Seen these guys live a number of times, played a festival with these guys a fair few years ago now as well in London. They were playing on the stage that Cancer are on as well. So that's quite cool to see them again after so many years. They don't probably have a clue who I am, but I knew who they were. But yeah, brilliant band, really, really cool. Followed these guys, like I say, for absolutely ages, and then I kind of got the new release. I'm very happy. So if you like your old school again death metal, lots of technical moments in this. They kind of break it up. It's not just chug fest. It's more refined riffing, tasteful solos, not just chucked in. They're all put in specifically where they need to be. And yeah, absolutely killer. Really murky production on it a little bit, so it kind of doesn't give it that modern sound. It's more of a, if it's put out in the 90s, you know, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference really. It's that kind of vibe to it. And yeah, really cool artwork. I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up with the CD cover. But yeah, loving that. So go check out some Decrepid if you haven't, because they're an absolutely fantastic band. And that is it. That is 6 albums from 6 UK death metal bands on the scene. Most of them fairly new. So please like and subscribe to this video if you're new to this channel. There will be a future update with other UK death metal bands going forward, and kind of try and promote all these bands, because even though most of them don't need it anyway because they're all really popular, it's still killer. And I do know that at some point this year, I think in September, these two especially are playing a show together in London. So if you want to go see some Celestial Sanctuary and Vacuous live, they are playing, I think, in September at the Black Heart in London. I hopefully will be down there to see that, because that sounds something like I would want to be part of, so I'm going to go check it out. So yeah, go and support them. So take care, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Cheers.